We are delighted to have Malini Rao with us to talk about the practical use cases, risks, and controls for AI ML in cybersecurity. So she's CISM CISO certified cybersecurity professional and an international speaker, and even serves as the CISO at the cybersecurity firm DeepLearnCyber.ai. She has also published a book on AI ML in cybersecurity, which has been a bestseller in the security category for 4 weeks on Amazon. She brings in extensive experience and expertise working globally for Fortune 500 clients in various areas of cybersecurity, such as cyber defense, application security, cloud security, DevSecOps, security engineering, operations, governance, risk and compliance management, cyber risk management, IoT security, and IAM, and much more. And Ms. Rao is also a global women in cybersecurity influencer and a board member of Women in Cybersecurity community. She has also received many recognitions and awards for her contributions as cybersecurity influencer and a mentor. And she has also been recognized as top 10 global women leaders in cybersecurity by SC Media and 40 under 40 in cybersecurity by Top Cyber News magazine. So we are really happy to have you here for a second. So I just like to remind you, we have a parallel track in session one. Track one about AppSec Essentials for Agile Teams by Pavan Mohan. And over to you, Malini. We're thrilled to hear about you more about how the practical use cases in cybersecurity in AI/ML. Over to you.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot.
thanks, Jishia. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Jishia, for that great introduction. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are listening. I'm Malini Rao, and I think the introduction was already quite elaborate, so I don't want to again introduce myself. But yeah, I'm looking forward for this presentation, and I'll be discussing more on the AI and ML in cybersecurity, practical use cases and risks. Let me quickly share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Like you all already know, today's topic of discussion is AI and ML in cybersecurity. I know there was a previous discussion on LLM, which was also quite informative from Raju and Ramakrishna. But I will be delving slightly deeper into the AI and ML specifically from the cybersecurity perspective, and I will also discuss. Mainly, I'll start quickly with what is AI and ML, because I know that some of you might be attending the session, might not be aware what is AI, what is the ML and the capabilities that it has. I'll also discuss about how AI and ML is used in cybersecurity, so that you can enhance some of the capabilities that we use in cybersecurity. I'll discuss some of the real world use cases. I'll quickly touch upon generative AI and chat GPT security, because that is something which has picked up this topic of AI and ML quite recently, and I'll discuss quickly the risks and security controls, privacy ethical concerns, and regulatory requirements for specific to country that is we are supposed to comply with. And to end with, I'll also quickly discuss about the future trends. I'll try to fit it into the 30 minutes that I have, and we'll take up Q&A later. So, as you all already know, that AI and ML is being talked about quite a bit since November 2022. That is mainly because of the Chat GPT. However, let us quickly understand what is AI and ML. So, artificial intelligence, it's basically replicating the human intelligence, right? Human cognitive intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence cannot replicate the emotions and the feelings, etc., that we as a human have. But yes, artificial intelligence can replicate the human cognitive intelligence. It focuses on three aspects: learning, reasoning, and self correction. So, what happens is when artificial intelligence is enabled with the help of tools like machine learning and deep learning, which has certain tools which I'll quickly discuss as well. So, with the help of machine learning and deep learning, this whole aspect of artificial intelligence can be enabled. The process of enabling the artificial intelligence is through three aspects which I mentioned: learning, First, it will learn what is there in the data sets. Then it will do a reasoning, and then we can also fine tune it, or it can also self correct it. We can write the model in that manner. Examples of AI are IBM Watson for cybersecurity. There is automated customer service chatbots that you see if you are using some banking services, you will see automated chatbots will come up on the banking website. Those are also using AI and ML. There are other ways to create chatbots also, but nowadays most of the chatbots used are using AI and ML. Then MS Azure AI, Azure has AI services, Google AI platform, Microsoft Copilot, and Amazon Web Services. So these are some of the examples of artificial intelligence that is available as a platform uh, in the use. So then we have machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. So whenever we create any AI capabilities, we always use machine learning and deep learning. Either it is machine learning or a deep learning capability. So machine learning is nothing but, again, the process of combining algorithms and data to take over and allow a computer to learn with or without a human intervention. So basically, if you see, you are using programming language like Python or JavaScript, etc. So there is a human intervention. You have to write a programming entirely. You have to write a program script, and then you have to start using that particular with a human intervention. But in machine learning model, though there will be some amount of human intervention, but once you write a model, it will run on its own. It will learn the data and it will start working on its own. It is a kind of a creating an automation. So machine learning is an application of AI. It's process of using mathematical models of data to help a computer learn without direct instruction. So this enables a computer system to continue learning and improve on its own based on the experience. We can also fine tune the machine learning model, but it can learn on its own as well. So for example, you can train an ML model to play chess games. So even we have seen recently there are many automations that were created where the machine learning model itself could play the chess game and win the game. It can also predict rental rates, hotel room rates. There is something called as prediction that can be enabled. There is something called as anomaly detection that can be enabled using the ML models. Then we have ML tools like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Apache Mahout, H2O.ai. These are some of the examples of ML machine learning tools. Now, coming to deep learning is again a subset of machine learning, which makes use of neural networks like neurons present in the human brain to imitate functionality like human brain. So it will completely behave like a human brain. It works on a larger data sets of data when compared to machine learning, and prediction mechanism is self-administered by machine. Examples are in cybersecurity, deep learning algorithm used in malware detection, deep learning algorithm used on any image classification that you want to do based on the images that you receive. The tools that are used in deep learning are Keras, PyTorch, Caffe, Theano are some of the examples. Now I'll quickly move on. What is machine learning? I mean, what are the different types of machine learning? There are 3 types of machine learning which are popularly being used. There are other types also, but these are the 3 major ones: supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and reinforcement machine learning. So every training sample from the data set, whenever it is labeled properly, then you can use supervised machine learning. If there are no labels to the training data that is being input while creating a model, then you use it as the unsupervised machine learning. And there is because it tries to learn the underlying patterns. So whenever there is no label, we use the method of unsupervised machine learning. Then there is something called as reinforced machine learning. The algorithm figures out which actions to take in a situation to maximize the reward on the way to reach a specific goal. So whenever, for example, if you are teaching your dog how to sit, how to walk, whenever you give an instruction to catch a ball, etc. So that is something called as reinforcement machine learning. So these are the top 3 types. So supervised machine learning, for example, in cybersecurity, it can be used for spam detection. If you're a cybersecurity professional, you will understand what is spam. So whenever you receive any email, you are monitoring the spam, and you have spam filters, of course. But nowadays, if you see, most of the solutions that you use in the market, cybersecurity has already AI/ML capabilities, or there are organizations which are now building most of their products with the AI/ML capability. So whenever there is a spam that you want to detect in your emails and flag it out or filter it out, you can use supervised machine learning. And then there is malware classification. Whenever you are, for example, browsing any website, you are automatically, if you are clicking on certain URLs, automatically the malware gets downloaded. So automatically, if you are using such supervised machine learning, automatically it will read that malware and it will filter it out. And based on that, you can also do a proper analytics that how many malwares were identified and blocked within my organization, how many malware got downloaded but we could not block. So all that things can be done using supervised machine learning. Then using unsupervised machine learning, you can find anomalies, because anomalies is something which is not very common. I mean, you will not get it kind of a labeled that every day you are getting anomalies. So based on the anomalies, which is not any label is there for that. So for that, you have to use unsupervised machine learning, where you will read the anomalies and then you will find out, for example, false positives. You want to identify false positives and false negatives in the data that you are receiving. In the kind of alerts, for example, from your SIEM alerts, you are getting some of the anomaly detection is being done. So in that, you can identify which are the false positives and which are the false negatives. So that can be done using unsupervised machine learning. And you can further clusterize the network data and identify whether it's a normal data or it's an abnormal data. So moving on quickly, what are the important components of machine learning? It is called as machine learning model. Then you call as model training algorithm and model inference algorithm. So model training algorithms works through an interactive process where the current model iteration is analyzed to determine what changes can be made to get closer to the goal. These changes are made and the iteration continues until the model is evaluated to meet the goals. So basically, you have to train your models to make sure that they work in a manner that we are expecting. First time when you are building the model, you are not going to achieve what you want. So you will have to fine tune it further to achieve the accuracy of 95 to 100%. 100% accuracy is very rare to achieve, but typically the accuracy is between 90 to 95%, which is really a good model, I would say, because that is, you are getting the output that as per your expectation, with of course some fine tuning further required. The maximum you can reach up to 97 to 98% accuracy. Model inference is when trained model is used to generate any predictions, which I told, right, that you have to predict certain say hotel rates, or you have to predict how many malwares were identified within your organization. So that kind of prediction you have, it is known as model inference. Again, quickly, the different types of workloads are computer vision, anomaly detection, natural language processing, NLP, and knowledge mining. And then also we have something called as conversational AI, which we are now seeing quite a bit about the chatbots and ChatGPT, etc., which is mainly the conversational AI. I am not going to go deeper into these aspects, but for your understanding, you can further then look at the recording or do your own research. Because of the short of time, I will further move to the next slide. But these are the main AI/ML workloads within the AI processes and the operations that we use. Then we have common machine learning algorithms that is also used in cybersecurity. These are the top 10 ones, like decision trees. We have random forests. We have support vector mechanism, SVM. We have logistic regression, naive Bayes. Then K nearest neighbors, KNN. Then we have neural networks. We already discussed a bit about it in deep learning. Then long short term memory, LSTM, gradient boosting machines, GBM, and clustering algorithms, example K-means. So mainly decision trees and random forests are used during this random forests and decision trees are mainly used from the cybersecurity projects perspective. There are some projects where support vector machines are also used, but mainly these are the top 10 ones which are used in cybersecurity. That algorithms which I mean. Then machine learning software tools, which I already gave a quick examples. Scikit-learn which is using a platform in Linux, Mac OS, and Windows, which is a freely available machine learning software tool written in Python, Python, C, and C++. Algorithm features are classification, regression, clustering, pre-processing, model selection, dimensionality reduction, and data mining and data analysis. I'm not going into algorithms basics, but most of the machine learning software tools are written in Python. So if you are going to go deeper into AI and ML, learning AI and ML, then I would say the basics, understanding the basics of Python language is very important. So I would suggest you to first learn Python language and then get deeper into AI and ML. Then there are other tools like I mentioned PyTorch. Then there is TensorFlow, which is widely used in cybersecurity. Then Keras.io is again a cross-platform used as API for neural networks. Then we have Weka and Colab. These are some of the tools available for machine learning. I'm not going to go the entire history of AI, but AI was coined by John McCarthy. He's considered one of the pioneers of AI and played a significant role. And this was in 1955. Artificial intelligence is coined during a conference devoted to the topic. So it is not like now this AI and ML has come up. This is there since decades old. I mean, quite a few old terminology. Recently it has picked up because of the ChatGPT and generative AI that came up. Generative AI is also started in 1990s when a significant milestone in generative AI came in 2014 when Ian Goodflow and his colleagues introduced GAN, Generative Adversarial Network Architecture. GAN consists of two neural networks, generator and discriminator, that work together in a competitive manner. The generator creates synthetic data while the discriminator tries to differentiate between real and fake data. So GAN has become driving force because of generative AI and ChatGPT. So a couple of industries are already using AI and ML. Healthcare is the major beneficiary of AI and ML because, as we said, it will try to replicate the human brain. So most of the neurological people suffering from neurological problems, like in Parkinson disease or any other similar neurological problem, they are the one who have received advantage of AI ML. Recently, I read a news where a person was not able to walk because of his paralysis and the Parkinson's kind of disease. But with the help of AI ML, he's now able to walk. They have developed a kind of automation using artificial intelligence where the person was able to now walk after many years. There is finance and banking who is using AI and ML for fraud detection, algorithm trading, credit risk assessment, customer service chatbots, wealth management, enhancing accuracy, etc. Retail and e-commerce is using for supply chain automation, optimization, customer experience enhancements. Inventory management is a bigger thing. If you see, Alibaba is using this for many years already. Manufacturing, AI/ML aids in predictive maintenance, quality control, supply chain optimization, etc. Automotive industry, in most of the vehicles, you will see now AI/ML capabilities with the including the traffic management as well as predicting the maintenance for vehicles, etc. And as well as self-driven cars, even though in India it is still not coming in a full-fledged way, but outside India, many places you can see self-driven cars. Then there is telecommunications. You can use it to predict the network equipment, leading to improving connectivity, customer satisfaction, logistics and supply chain, and entertainment and media. Quickly, advantages of AI/ML, like I mentioned, of automation and efficiency is the major advantage of AI and ML capabilities, data analysis and insights, personalization, continuous learning, fraud detection, medical applications. Just now we discussed NLP allows computer to understand, generate human language, autonomous systems, predictive analytics, innovation, and creativity. These are the main advantages why people use AI and ML. Risks of using AI and ML, we just before this session, we saw adversarial attacks. So adversarial attacks is a major risk while using AI and ML, which are vulnerable to AI and ML attacks, where malicious input is carefully crafted to deceive the model predictions. Apart from this, there are other risks like data privacy risks, collecting and storing large amount of data because we have to train the data and we need large amount of data. So there could be concerns raised that you are collecting some of my personal information of employees, or it could be of customers. You are collecting the personal information to do the AI and ML capabilities. So that data privacy concern needs to be addressed. Mishandling can lead to breaches and loss of sensitive information. So that is where you need to take care of the data privacy aspect. Then there is automation bias. Over reliance on AI and predictions can lead to diminished role of human judgment, resulting in incorrect decisions if the model fails. Then unintended consequences, for example, you have certain specific objectives where you want to achieve it, but while you are trying to achieve that objective, you forget few things that you need to take care, and it leads to negative consequences. So you need to be very careful that whatever building I am building AML, there should not be any side effects or negative consequences. Then job displacement, of course, if you are automating, then there is the based on your plan, many of the organization, they will go for automation, and they will also make sure that the people's jobs are displaced. But this is something you need to really be careful and take care. If you are trying to displace that job, you should help the whoever employees or whoever you are displacing them to get placed either within the organization or outside the organization. So that should not create any negative kind of a situation. So this is something which has to be planned properly. Then ethical dilemmas are the use of AIML is critical decision making, such as criminal justice, healthcare, can raise ethical dilemmas and question about accountability. So this is something which needs to be taken care as well. So I'll quickly touch upon what is adversarial attack. I know in some of the sessions you might have already heard about it, but I'll quickly highlight it. It is basically deliberate manipulation of input to a machine learning model with the intention of causing the model to make incorrect or undesirable outputs. These attack exploits the vulnerabilities in the model behavior and can use to undermine its accuracy and reliability. Adversarial attacks can occur in various domains, including image recognition, natural language processing, and more. The term adversarial came from the idea that these attacks simulate a scenario where a malicious adversary is intentionally trying to deceive the model prediction. Different types of attacks are there: white box attacks, black box attacks, transfer attacks, and physical attacks. In white box attack, attacker has full access to the model architecture and parameters. Maybe he's an insider within the organization, he's an employee with some malicious intents. He can analyze the model internals to craft inputs that can exploit its weakness. Black box attacks, where the attacker doesn't have the access to the model, but he instead uses trial and error method to generate inputs. Transfer attacks is again involves a training a separate model known as adversarial model to generate inputs. We have seen in cybersecurity there are similar to Chat GPT, there is a different kind of a Chat GPT that has been developed by the hackers, and it is being sold on the dark web. So similarly, these are some of the models where the people will think that it is Chat GPT and then start using it. There will be some applications that they will start using it, but it is a malicious application. So you have to always make sure that the application is genuine, and you are not just downloading and start using it. You have to do some research, and then once you have researched and found out that it's established and well credible application or a Chat GPT kind of application, then you can rely on. Chat GPT, of course, when they started, also did not have many security measures, but recently they have implemented as well. So physical attacks, in cases where the model is used in the real world autonomous vehicles, attackers can manipulate the physical inputs, like stickers on the road signs can be changed, and they can mislead the model predictions. So adversarial attacks are the major risks to the AI and ML that we saw. So we have to be, while we are designing the AI ML model, we have to make sure that these adversarial attacks are considered and taken into picture, and similarly robust models are developed. Example of adversarial attacks is data poisoning attack. In this attack, the adversary introduces a malicious data into the training data sets, compromising the model's performance during training or causing misclassifications at inference time. Training model attacks is explained because what examples is, for example, adversarial in the adversarial attack, for example, if you are trying to classify white dogs or black dogs, and you will introduce a particular label called fish, but the image is still of a dog, and the machine learning will get confused, and then it will actually and think that it is actually a dog, but actually you have introduced within the model something called label as a fish. So this will actually the ML model will misbehave and not behave in that manner, and it will get confused, and further it will lead to the accuracy level will change accordingly. If you can see here, the accuracy level here is 97%, new confidence fish is 97%. Then the second picture 98%, fish is 93%, and the third picture dog 98% and fish 87%. Oops, give me just 1 minute, my battery got low. Okay, moving on. So AI and ML in cybersecurity refers to the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to enhance the security of digital systems, networks, and data. It involves leveraging advanced algorithms to analyze, detect, prevent, and respond to various cyber threats and attacks. AI and ML in cybersecurity enables automation, improved accuracy, faster response, addressing the evolving challenges. So, some of the real world use cases in cybersecurity where artificial intelligence and machine learning is used is fraud detection and prevention. Then there is phishing prevention. If you understand what is phishing, is somebody sends an email to you saying that there is some offer is going on, and just click on that, and then there could be a mail that you will receive from your bank. It will say that I am from your bank, please change your password, but it is actually a phishing email. So trying to prevent phishing, so you can use AI and ML in this kind of solutions. Then user authentication, while trying to authenticate that you are the right user within the organization, for that you can use AI ML. You can use it for spam filtering. We just now saw while discussing machine learning. Sorry. Then malware detection. Malware detection is the major use case in AI and ML where it is used in a big way. And then intrusion detection systems like intrusion detection and prevention systems, IDP and uh, IDS and IPS. Sorry. So these are some of the top use cases where cybersecurity within cybersecurity where AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning is used. Then you can use it for software development. Within the software development is also nowadays, if you see DevSecOps, similarly there is MLSecOps. So within MLSecOps, basically for your machine learning model while you are developing, what kind of security by design is what you are considering. That also is being considered. Then there is no code security is also there, where many are using AI and ML, and you don't need a code to develop your application. So there also you need to take care of using machine learning models. If you're developing your application, then you need to take care of cybersecurity there. So these are some of the use cases of using AI and ML in cybersecurity. So I'll quickly, maybe for under 5 to 7 minutes, quickly touch upon generative AI and Chat GPT, knowing the time here that we don't have much time. So quickly, I'll go through this. Generative AI refers to a subset of artificial intelligence which focuses on creating content such as text, images, audio, and video in a novel, but not directly copied from the training data. Of course, there are concerns raised by the content creators that you guys are just going and taking my data and creating it on Chat GPT, etc. But yeah, this has to be taken care, which is a risk, and this needs to be taken care. And again, ChatGPT is a specific example of generative AI model developed by OpenAI and became prevalent in November 2022. It's a language model that uses deep learning techniques, particularly transformers, to generate human-like text response to natural language. ChatGPT is pre-trained on a diverse range of internet text and then fine-tuned for specific tasks or guidelines. ChatGPT 3.5 version is free and 4 is enhanced, and now there is ChatGPT Enterprise version also, which can be used by the organizations. So OpenAI Text then announced approach to AI safety. They ensure security and privacy best practices are followed. If you go to this URL, you will find out all the security measures that are being taken by OpenAI. Generative AI risks, because generative AI is also type of artificial intelligence. So that is where I quickly thought of discussing this as well, because this is being asked by many of them. So biased and harmful outputs, misinformation and fake content, adversarial attacks, privacy concerns, intellectual property violations, loss of control, dependency on training data, unintended consequences, user exploitation, and ethical dilemmas. There are quite a few risks, I would say, related to generative AI. You need to take care of them. Like we were discussing that adversarial attacks, you need to have a robust model, privacy concerns, You need to make sure that while you are collecting the data, you should be very careful by collecting PII data. You have to take the user consent. You have to make sure that it does not lead to any privacy breaches and data leaks. So all this assessment has to be done, and then only you start using the generative AI and chat GPT. If you are already using in your organization, I would suggest that you first create a policy for your generative AI and chat GPT users, or any other, maybe you're using Bard or any other generative AI solution. You first have the policy, security policy updated for acceptable use policy, and also about using the use of generative AI, and then have that security policy and roll it out across the organization. Create some training programs for people to understand how to take care of security while using ChatGPT or such similar generative AI models. So security controls and best practices to secure generative AI applications: data sanitization, access controls, model verification, content filtering and moderation, and adversarial testing. So data sanitization is you have to sanitize your data while you are collecting your PII data. PII is personally identifiable information, which can lead to privacy breaches. These are some of the top, this takes care of the some of the risk that we are talking about, that somebody can manipulate your data. So this has to be sanitized to ensure that it is free of malicious inputs. Then access control is one of the security control that you need to ensure. Implement strict access control to limit who can access and modify the generative AI model and its training data. Use role-based access control is a method of access control that is used to define different levels of access for users. For example, I am from sales or somebody is from different HR department. The kind of access they should have for generative AI or chat GPT kind of environment, it should be different for them based on the roles and responsibilities. Then model verification: regularly validate the generative AI model outputs to ensure that meet the intended standards of quality and safety. Use testing and validation procedures to catch any unexpected outputs that could pose security risks. So always do the model verification as part of your testing exercise. Content filtration and moderation: implement content filtering mechanisms to prevent and generation of inappropriate or harmful content. Because if you already have a content filtering solution, make sure that you are using you have enabled it for reading this ML models as well. So that is something that needs to be taken care. Apply real-time moderation to generate content before it is released to the public. I'm sorry about this. Then adversarial testing: test the generative AI model against adversarial attacks to identify vulnerabilities, which we have already discussed, so I'm not going deeper into this. So these are some of the top criteria you should consider to secure your AI models or AI applications. There are few more, like monitoring and logging. In most of the organization, already monitoring and logging is already done. You are using SIEM, security incident and event management solution. So in that, you can enable also for generative AI, implement monitoring and logging mechanism to track and audit the activities related to generative AI model. Monitor for any suspicious or unauthorized activities that could indicate a security breach. Then also regularly update and patch. You will have the patch management process in your organization. So enable that for your AI models, libraries, and dependencies, and make sure they are regularly patched. Then explainability and transparency is, of course, becoming quite widely being discussed in most of the organization. So you have to use an interpretable AI model to enhance transparency and provide insights on how the model generates the content. For example, if there is some regulatory requirement, GDPR, right? GDPR is the European data protection regulatory requirement. So they will come and ask you why you are using this model. You are using PII data, personal identifier information. Why you are collecting personal data? So all that questions can be answered if you are keeping how the AI model has been developed. If you are keeping it transparent, it becomes easier to answer such questions, and your data privacy team will be much happier if you keep that kind of inputs ready and keep it transparent. And also make sure that there is no biased input, like for example, female or a male kind of bias, or there is any specific bias that is mentioned in your model itself. So that needs to be taken care while you are some of the applications were asked to shut down because of such bias, or either modify or shut down. So you need to make sure that they are taken care. Then there is secure deployment. Deploy the generative AI model in a secure environment. following the best practices for network and infrastructure security, implement firewall intrusion detection system. Because see, most of the organization already have firewall intrusion detection systems. So you just need to modify that for your generative AI models or the AI environment. Then collaboration and training is very important because you need to have your collaboration between AI, data scientists, domain experts in cybersecurity, uh, or any other domain that you are creating this. There should be a proper collaboration and training to the developers and stakeholders on best practices to secure AI model. This needs to be ensured in all the organizations who are adopting AI. Then ethical consideration, consider the ethical implication of the generated content and potential impact on individuals and society. Establish guidelines and policies for ethical use of generative AI. I don't know if I have time, but I'll quickly take 2 minutes and close this. Privacy and ethical concerns, how to address them. Privacy concerns, I already discussed data privacy, data leakage, and re-identification. You need to take care of all these three areas to ensure that your data is secure. And there is no data privacy is basically collecting anybody's personal information and then trying to read that data as part of your model, right? So whenever you're collecting a personal information, you have to consult your data privacy team and make sure that these data privacy aspects are considered. Ensure data anonymization and aggregation to minimize the risk of individual identification. Data anonymization, when you do it, if a hacker attacks that model, he will not get anything. It will be scrambled data. So you have to focus on data anonymization, obtain informed consent from data subjects, especially if sensitive information is involved. Data leakage, generate content might inadvertently reveal information about training data, especially potentially compromising user privacy. So implement techniques such as differential privacy to mitigate data leakage risk, regular audit, and evaluate the generated content for unintended information disclosure. So these are some of the things that you need to consider while doing the creating your AI and ML models. Ethical concerns, which I already discussed, bias and fairness needs to be taken care by curating the diverse and representative training data, implement bias detection mechanism, and retrain your models using de-biased data sets. Regularly assess and correct the biases in outputs. For malicious use, generated content can be exploited for malicious purposes. So use content filtering, moderation, and verification mechanisms. For unintended consequences, establish clear guidelines and limitations to use of generative AI outputs. Have information security policy updated for your generative AI for a responsible use of generative AI. Then intellectual property that where there might be violating intellectual property rights. So include algorithms that avoid generating content resembling copyrighted or patented material. Educate users about legal and ethical consideration of using generative AI. So we have already discussed this in our discussions. So I'll try to skip this slide. We discussed about regulatory compliance. We discussed you have to keep it transparent, user access control, ethics committee. You can have an ethics committee in your organization. It could be a combination of data privacy team, cybersecurity team, and various other functional teams using generative AI. You can have public dialogue with your team, gather feedback, do regular audits, do user education. These are all the areas, ways and means where you can take care of the privacy and ethical concerns. So some of the regulations, country specific, USA, right now there is only white paper, there is no law. No specific federal legislation governs the use of generative AI or AI and ML. There is published blueprint for AI Bill of Rights. So whitehouse.gov, if you go to this /OSTP/AI Bill of Rights, you will get that white paper, which is published by the Office of Science and Technology and identifies 5 principles: algorithm, discrimination, protection, data privacy, notice and explanation, human alternatives, consideration, fallback. And Europe has upcoming AI Act, introduced new rules through GDPR. These companies compile a complete list of copyrighted materials used to train AI models, regardless of their output. List every bit of training involving material protected under copyright. Have a choice for accountability, governance, and transparency. So if you go to this link, you will get these new rules where you have to follow if you are using AI and ML. Then UK also has an AI white paper, which talks about safety, security, and robustness, appropriate transparency and explainability, which we already discussed, fairness, accountability and governance, and contextability and redress. So these are most of the countries, sorry, don't have any regulation, but they are working on it and it's evolving. So what are the past and future trends? What we have seen in the past is there are data breaches, there is ransomware attacks. It is not past, ransomware attacks happens every day. So it is quite common, and it needs to be addressed in a proper way with proper cybersecurity measures as well as incident response process. We have seen Active Directory attacks. We have seen multi-factor authentication used for everything. We have seen DDoS attack, distribution denial of service attacks. What we are going to see in future is more of Internet of Things data breaches, because you will start using smart watches, you will start using smart TV, you will start using smart everything. So Internet of Things is everywhere. So smart devices. So these kind of data breaches will increase, security incidents will increase from IoT perspective. Use of AI by the bad guys, such as to develop attacks to target AI models, design new types of adversarial attacks, data poisoning attacks. Then there is, of course, we are seeing, I'm not covering quantum computing here, but yeah, that is also an area which needs to be delved into, but I'm trying to skip that because that's a huge topic in itself. Then AI ML enabled with cybersecurity trained professional demand will increase. So if you are getting into AI and ML, and if you are a cybersecurity professional, then I would suggest you that you enhance your AI and ML capabilities, learn Python programming, at least the basics of it, and try to understand how AI and ML models are built. That will enhance your career in a better way. Then blockchain security is demand is increasing in blockchain. Also, AI and ML is used to certain extent and not 100%, but yeah, it enhances the blockchain security in itself. AI-driven threat hunting, AI-driven threat intelligence is going to increase. AI-driven cybersecurity solutions, the increase in use of such solutions will increase. So that's about it. If you have any questions, you can always write to me. And of course, about my book, it is available on Amazon and Flipkart with the title AI and ML in Cybersecurity. So you can go and read further on that. And I'm available on these coordinates. You can always contact me. Thank you, everyone. And I really thank ThoughtWorks for giving me the opportunity for this presentation and discussion. And I'm open for any Q&A.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the knowledge with us. So we were like really insightful about starting off from the basics, covering up the related practical users, security controls. Like this session was really insightful. Thank you for joining with us for the SecConf.